rejections from the middle Bollinger Band.
Resistance we're going to need.
If you actually see here, we get a
And we'll look for a healthy higher
I
low.
would not
don't have
be
the
eager
bullseye
to
across
enter
the
a long
structure.
trade.
Hello crypto friends, hope you're fantastic. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, BCH, and NEO. I'm in a circle today because that's the kind of day that it is. And we're looking at the potential of a bull flag on the daily time frame. So there's two scenarios on how this is going to play out. It's going to either be a daily bull flag and lead right to continuation early this coming week, either tomorrow or Monday. We'll look to head back up to 7,687, our recent resistance, and our higher low on the daily time frame would be 7,204. So that is a potential scenario, and scenario number one. The second scenario is visible on the 4-hour time frame. So we'll look at that in just a moment, but want to just point out again, the exponential moving averages are catching up. The RSI is a little bit extended. If we were to form a bull flag and see continuation, that RSI is going to be above 70 for really the first time in a long time, the first time since those all-time highs, if we do get the bull flag. If we do not get the bull flag, it's going to be the potential bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern. So drawing that out, this would be the left shoulder, then you have the head and the right shoulder. That is not a good version. Here we go. And the neckline is down here at 7,204. So there's multiple different ways that the head and shoulder pattern forms. My favorite way is when the neckline of the left shoulder is higher, I should say is lower, and the right side is higher, because that shows us we're still in an uptrend. And then it shows the change in the trend when you have a lower high form on the right shoulder, and then you break the neckline. That's the break of the uptrend. So technically, we've already broken to a lower low by about $25. We just didn't get much follow through. So at this point, I'm watching the volume. The bull volume's not really standing out in any way. We're going to have to see increasing bull volume on the 4-hour time frame in order for these bulls to try and see continuation and confirm the bull flag. So right now, while I'm patiently waiting, I still have my anti-FOMO swing position, so I'm not tempted to make any kind of entries here in case we do see continuation. If we do see the continuation, I will just gladly ride this position out and not really try and do too much else. Maybe a couple day trades for quick flips of Bitcoin for $100 here and there. But other than that, I'm going to just be sitting patiently and waiting. So I'm watching the exponential support, which we have regained. Have not seen a bear cross there just yet. And really the ideal scenario would be if we come up here, set a lower high on the 4-hour time frame, pull back and form a higher low, and then break bullish. Because obviously if we get a bull break right now, the bulls have a lot of ground to cover, and I don't think we'd get much follow through at all. So holding up just fine at this point, but if we lose the hourly higher low pattern that has developed on this bounce, that would be a potential indication that we could be looking at the bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern for a pullback. And again, you know, bearish reversal sounds scary, but that would just be on the 4-hour time frame. And again, the daily chart can easily pull back another few $100 down towards 7,000 and still be extremely healthy. Those exponential moving averages are going to be above 7,000. The 12 period will be tomorrow. So all in all, just tight contained consolidation, 15-minute oversold bounce opportunity this morning. The 15-minute RSI touching just above 30. We got a solid bounce for hundreds of dollars. And then here we just touched 30 again. And from that low to where we stand right now, we have bounced about $200+. So nothing, you know, fast and extreme, just a slow and steady bull move to the upside. And like I said in the video yesterday, Bitcoin's holding up better than everybody else, but that doesn't mean that there's not individual plays on short-term time frames that have more favorable setups in terms of percentages. So ETH has been getting crushed recently, but its bounce on this move today is more so, or I should say stronger, than what we have on Bitcoin. So if we're going to compare, you just hold down the shift button and click at the bottom of where you're trying to measure, and then you just drag it up and say, okay, Bitcoin has bounced about 3.33% from that low to that high, and then we compare it to Ethereum. We'll do Ethereum analysis, but just a real comparison real quick. It's up more around 6%. So clearly the Ethereum bounce, as it was more beat up, has seen a stronger move, but this is the kind of move that I would only want to day trade because I don't want to be in Ethereum when it's in a downtrend on the daily time frame. It's not in a downtrend, but it pulled back much more significantly. So essentially what I'm saying is I like Bitcoin for swing and longer term perspective still until we get red flags on the daily time frame. And I like the shorter term names for day trades and flips to be trying to capitalize on that increased volatility and perhaps greater percentage moves. You also run the risk of, you know, choosing a name that does not have as significant of a bounce, but at this point, when things are that beat up, when ETH, BTC, RSI was that crushed, decent little oversold bounce. So checking in on Ethereum daily chart, higher low is attempting to form. Cicadas behind me are going nuts. Higher lows, we're looking at 441, and resistance is 515.88. So I would expect to stay within this daily range for quite some time. Even if we see follow through for the bulls, this is enough of a pullback that I would look for an equilibrium rather than just continuation. So keeping an eye out for a lower high on the daily time frame to be set. It's going to be up to the bulls to prove a lot on this recovery. And if we see Bitcoin 4-hour time frame pull back and see further consolidation below 7,200, then I would expect Ethereum to hover in the 460s for a while and potentially back to the 450s, maybe even 440s. Have to be keeping an eye on Ethereum weakness comparative to Bitcoin. So let's do that real quick. ETH BTC on the daily chart, oversold bounce underway. Have to be watching though for a lower high to form on this daily chart. Bounce could last a few days, so definitely worth paying attention to. Bull volume is not really anything strong at this point. BCH USD, so the daily chart here, also trying to form a higher low. We got our low, higher low, and now a bullish candlestick trying for another higher low. Resistance is up at 888.19. Support is 742.07. And it's the same thing. If we look at the hourly time frame, press our shift button, and the bounce is up to 7%. So even more than Ethereum. So BCH, we've talked in the past about how it's almost like a leveraged ETF in the sense that it moves more to the upside and more to the downside comparative to Bitcoin. So if you're looking for more volatility, BCH not as liquid, but it definitely has bigger percent swings in both directions. So again, another name to be looking at if you're looking at a day trade. Daily chart, I would expect a lower high on any bounce attempt to see a tightening range. So keeping an eye out for tightening ranges on Ethereum and BCH. Pretty similar setup on their daily charts with the significant pullback, but now a pretty solid bounce. Checking in on NEO USD. So here we have this equilibrium we checked in on a couple days ago. It's continuing to form our low high, higher low, lower high. Now we got a higher low attempting to form. So the current range is 31.79 and 40.81. This is the pattern that I said, this is one that you write down on your notebook next to your computer and you check in on every day and wait for it to get so tight that a break is imminent. And then when that break does occur, it usually gets some solid follow through because of all the people that are watching the same clear tightening levels. So the 4-hour time frame here, attempting a bounce, haven't done anything to change the trend on the 4-hour, so we're not entirely confident that our daily higher low has formed. I want to see a higher low and a higher high on the 4-hour, and then we're very confident our daily higher low is formed, and we're going to make our way back up towards the $37 area. So nice tightening pattern to be watching on NEO, the weekly time frame. Not really doing a whole lot. This bounce isn't really proving a lot of follow through at this point, and this bounce is very, very likely to just set a lower high. So the weekly chart for NEO is not close to changing any kind of trends anytime soon. Pretty much the same thing for everybody. We're getting to the close of the end of the week here, and again, this bounce is not too impressive on BCH at this point. Definitely going to need further follow through. Checking ETH USD bounce, not going to be impressive. We have a big upper wick of profit taking, and there it is. So still weak bounces, and we look at Bitcoin weekly, it's holding up a bit better. Certainly a much stronger candlestick on the weekly. Still looking for that lower high compared to 10,000, but in better shape in terms of the lack of an upper wick of profit taking that the vast majority of other names do have. So the weekly charts, again, they're not very impressive at this point. So we have to have perspective on all time frames, because right now a lot of people are looking at Bitcoin on the daily and saying, wow, things are really strong. Should I get back in? Should I patiently wait for consolidation? Again, having a smaller anti-FOMO position that you just hold on to for now is alleviating some of that for me personally. But for Bitcoin, we have to see, like what I was saying is the daily pattern is showing a lot of strength. So we have this mindset, Bitcoin bulls are really strong, but all we have to do is zoom out to the weekly chart and say, oh yeah, this trend isn't changing anytime soon. We're in a daily uptrend with higher lows and higher highs. We are not in a weekly uptrend. So it's definitely a bit of an indecisive area. And we have to be cautious because I am anticipating that lower high, and maybe then we'll get a higher low after it, because the bounce at this point has been pretty significant from the low of the weekly chart to the high of this bounce. At this point, we are looking at about 30+%. So very solid bounce. All depends on how much further we can get. Another leg up. For every leg up we get, the more confident we are that a higher low on the weekly will form when we do need to see some consolidation. Then things will get really tight as we head into August, September. So bulls want one more leg up at least to make that higher low a lot more likely, and we'll see if we get it. So I appreciate you all watching. Took a couple clips yesterday of some sunsets, and I'm going to be bouncing around and doing some nature stuff, so I'll take my camera with me and see what happens. I appreciate you all watching. I hope you continue to do good things. People sending some nice messages. Always enjoy reading those and the comments on the YouTube videos and all of the interest in the courses. We appreciate it all. Thanks again, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll be back tomorrow. Going to probably do a joint video with Nuggets News with Alex, where we run down some altcoins. He gives some brief information on the fundamentals. I go into the daily and weekly charts for some technical analysis and just get a little bit of an overview on these altcoins. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Booze Cruise, Jimmy Buffett, the keys. A little overdone.